Here's to hoping my phone doesn't die during this, because I've got 4%. I wrote this thing the other night. I don't know if it's really a poem. I'm gonna read it, because I like it. I titled it, An Incoherent Ramble. I haven't really proofread it, so we're gonna get what we get. I just remember I really enjoyed writing it. So yeah. What does it mean to think? If you think about thinking, you're having a thought, but if you think of the act of having that thought, then you are no longer thinking the initial thought. And I just thought I was going to set of the first line to think it, to write, but the thought got lost, and I said, what does it mean to use your brain? What if I made a device that monitors and displays the brain function for the user? This way you can understand which part of your brain you use while you speak or learn or think. And how can we strengthen it if we visualize what we're using and practice enhanced development? But if I made it, there'd be no connection to Wi-Fi and no data transfer to a company. It's only in the device. Why does man think one's entitled to another man's data? What have we become? What is our location and privacy anymore? It matters not to a company, but it should matter to the individual man. But why then does man think he's special? Each inherent one, it's a curse. For a man to think he's better than someone or inherently deserves more, it's wrong. Equality, providing an equal starting line for all. It's guaranteed by the United States, but it doesn't always seem that way. Equality, it doesn't happen. Why is man corrupt? And how can the world hold the most power? The worst. How can the worst hold the most power? All the power and the wealth and the corruption. It's a package deal. You shouldn't forget it. They all three come together. And you can't forget that. You know, it kind of reminds me of this Reddit post a few weeks ago. You know, there's a larger story that was made, but looking inside, there's a deeper picture that was crafted. That the U.S. in its current state is very similar to the position of Rome was before its fall. And growing up in the U.S., I've very often heard the comparison of Rome being the West and the U.S. being the West, and the U.S. and Rome and all of it. And just comparing the time we're in now to the fall of Rome, it's very shaking to my core. It feels true. It feels real. You know, it feels real. Rome and Greece, home to some of the great philosophers. But I must ask, what is a philosopher if not a man or woman having an existential crisis, aloud for the world to hear, sharing knowledge of universal truth that they believe, and changing minds, speaking that they think they know how the world works, and they're not always right, but sometimes they are. They're still philosophers today, and wherever they live, it doesn't really matter, but rather where they are found. Online, there's creators changing minds and sharing visions and really putting passion into what they do. But who speaks truth and who spews lies and deceit? How does one navigate in a world of online technicalities, of so much knowledge and instantaneous content? How can you sift the fact from the fiction? When people ask, are you religious? How does one respond in my position? Politely change the subject? Say yes, say no, tell the truth? Well, I don't believe in organized religion. That's the truth. I sense it to be corrupt, you know, at its core. Only about man. Not that many of the lessons and values and concepts that religions can teach and do teach are corrupt and that they're bad inherently. However, the initial religion is about man. To satisfy an unyielding desire to know what came before and the ever more enticing what comes after. What comes after I die? Man wants something more. Answers. What's more? Man wants something more. No matter what you give him, man always wants more. Greed. Corruption lies in the man that becomes too comfortable in his own ways, unwilling to evolve or look for new points of views, and open to opposition to his own. Corruption lies in a man who lacks communication, which is the source of all peace, whereas hostility and the lack of honorable discourse and discussion lead to war. Well, that and religion. Which my religion is simple. Nature. I believe it's the true one and everlasting God who, if it's gone, so are we. And it won't happen in our lifetime, but we're sure not helping it. Mother Nature gives us her nutrients, and we live off of her water and soil, and she offers them as gifts. But the mind of man, corrupt, greedy, it poisons for a hunger for more in our brain that's not satiated, and we just take without replenishing, without thinking of the future. We take and steal and pillage from this planet the one thing that all of us have to share, regardless of race or gender or age, nationality, religion, ethnicity, creed. It doesn't matter at the end of the day, because we're only human. Truly, we're only animal. And we have to share this planet with every single person on it. We're all human at the end of the day. Surviving off of these gifts that have been abused by corporations who aren't going to enact real change without being forced. It's easy to see the bad in man, and it seems sometimes you have to look a little harder to see the good. But is there good and bad in man? Is it as simple as black and white, or does gray get to join? You know, what is good and what is bad? It's all deeper levels of complex thought that go into a single choice. So many perspectives that many people don't see, are unwilling to even listen. Did you know there is no color in the universe? It only comes from the receptors in our eyes, transmitting it into things we can understand. Just like there's no green on the trees or gray rocks. We're on a rock, floating in space. Tired, in need of a hand, with our natural resources depleting at an astounding rate. No one's coming. There's no savior coming. We, right now, us, people around the world have to stand up and get mad for something. And if you can't get mad for the planet, man, what can you get mad for? You know, you gotta get mad, pissed off, man. You gotta go out and tell people you wanna make a change. Not enough people stepping up to make changes lately. Everyone's sitting back. You gotta care for the planet. Start caring now, man. Use your voice to be heard, because you've only got one life. You know, whatever happens after, happens after. What you do now, that's what counts. Speak out. Write your senator. Tell your friends. Do whatever you gotta do, man. You get one life, you know. People ask me my biggest fear, and it's when I die, I ask myself, am I going to make a meaningful difference? You know? Am I going to be able to answer that question and be satisfied if I was on my deathbed? And thinking about it now, the just like anxiety in me, it grows, you know, ever present, but it grows. Just the thought of this question, you know, will I do something that matters? Will I be proud of the actions that I did? Will I believe that the majority of my actions help to make the world a better place? And will it be true?